Japan's story is one of warriors and emperors, devastation and rebirth, and isolation and expansion. From the rise of the samurai to becoming a global superpower, this is the complete history of Japan. During the 12th century, the Minamoto clan rose to power, defeating their rivals in the Genpei War and establishing the first shogunate, the Kamakura Shogunate. This was the beginning of Japan's feudal era, where powerful warlords, known as daimyos, controlled vast lands and had their own private armies of samurai. The samurai weren't just warriors, they were a class of their own, bound by a strict code of honor called Bushido, which emphasized loyalty, discipline, and courage. To a samurai, dying in battle was more honorable than surrender. If a samurai ever failed in duty, they would commit seppuku ritual suicide to restore their honor. For centuries, Japan was a land of constant warfare. Daimyo fought for control, alliances were made and broken, and entire clans were wiped out in brutal conflicts. Then came the unification of Japan, led by three legendary figures, Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu. Nobunaga was a ruthless warlord who revolutionized warfare in Japan by introducing European guns. Hideyoshi, his loyal general, completed the unification of Japan, but it was Tokugawa Ieyasu who established the Tokugawa Shogunate in 1603, a government that would keep Japan stable for over 250 years. With the Tokugawa Shogunate came the policy of Sakoku, Japan's self-imposed isolation from the rest of the world. No foreigners were allowed in, and no Japanese could leave. This isolation helped preserve Japan's traditions but also prevented technological and cultural advancements from the outside world. Japan's history began long before the samurai, but it's the samurai era that truly defined the nation. For centuries, Japan was ruled by an emperor, but in reality, power was in the hands of the shogunate, a military government led by a shogun. Think of the shogun as a warlord who ruled in the emperor's name but had complete control over Japan's military and political affairs. After more than 2 centuries of isolation, everything changed in 1853 when American warships, led by Commodore Matthew Perry, arrived in Japan, demanding that the country open its ports to trade. The arrival of the Black Ships, as they were called, shook Japan to its core. Then, on December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, bringing the United States into World War II. At first, Japan seemed unstoppable, conquering vast territories across the Pacific. But the tides of war changed. The US and its allies fought back, island-hopping their way toward Japan. In 1945, facing defeat, Japan refused to surrender. That's when the US made a fateful decision, dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The devastation was unimaginable. Over 200,000 people died, and Japan finally surrendered on August 15, 1945, bringing World War II to an end. The shogunate had no choice but to comply, and soon, Japan was forced into unfair treaties with Western nations. This humiliation sparked outrage among the people, and by 1868, the Tokugawa Shogunate collapsed, leading to the Meiji Restoration. Emperor Meiji, now a true ruler instead of a mere figurehead, led a massive modernization campaign. The samurai class was abolished, Western-style education and military systems were adopted, and Japan rapidly transformed into an industrialized nation. The country built railways, modernized its army, and even defeated China and Russia in wars, proving itself as a rising power on the global stage. But Japan's ambitions didn't stop there. The country began expanding its empire, taking over Korea, Taiwan, and parts of China. This aggressive expansion would eventually lead to one of the darkest chapters in world history. By the 1930s, Japan was a powerful but militaristic nation, seeking resources to fuel its growing empire. Japan invaded Manchuria in 1931 and later engaged in a full-scale war with China in 1937. These events put Japan on a collision course with the Western powers. After the war, Japan was in ruins, but with American support and sheer determination, Japan underwent a miraculous recovery. The country embraced democracy, rebuilt its industries, and became an economic powerhouse. By the 1960s, Japan was producing world-class cars, electronics, and technology. Companies like Sony, Toyota, and Nintendo became global giants, and Japan transformed into one of the wealthiest nations on Earth. Today, Japan stands as a technological and cultural leader, known for its innovation, rich traditions, and global influence. From feudal wars to world wars, From isolation to innovation, Japan's journey is a testament to resilience and transformation. And that's the entire history of Japan, from samurai to superpower. If you found this fascinating, you'll love our next video on the rise and fall of ancient civilizations. Click now to watch.